Having actual reporters on the ground is a super duper important thing, and not enough outlets do it, because when they do it, we learn just how insane the political process is in a bunch of different states around the country. So this is from More Perfect Union. A new Iowa bill would roll back child labor laws, allowing 14 to 17-year-olds to work in mining, meatpacking, demolition, operating guillotine shears, and other dangerous jobs. Under the business-backed bill, employers wouldn't be civilly liable if kids are injured or killed. Wow. The new Iowa bill would also completely lift a ban on 14 and 15-year-olds working in freezers and meat coolers and allow kids as young as 14 and a half to drive themselves to work. What? Other dangerous jobs would be allowed with exemptions. Wow. So the Des Moines Register actually reported on this, and More Perfect Union is talking about it. So shout out to the Des Moines Register for actually doing the work on this. Ohio may also expand child labor. Currently, Ohio teens can only work until 7 p.m. during the school year, but a bill backed by the restaurant lobby would allow 14 and 15-year-olds to work until 9 p.m. year-round with permission from their guardian. Iowa's child labor bill is sponsored by Republican Senator Jason Schultz. In October, he said the proudest moment of his lawmaking career was leading a 2017 bill that ended collective bargaining rights for most state workers. Wow. That's great. So now we have, they're bringing back child labor, y'all. They're bringing back child labor. Now, I'm sure, for those of you who don't remember the history of it, of course, during the Industrial Revolution in the U.S., during the Lochner era as well, when the Supreme Court said there's a right to contract between employers and employees, which meant the government can't come in and regulate and say, hey, this goes too far, hey, you need to pay them more, hey, you need to do overtime, hey, you need to have safety rules, etc. During that time, we had rampant child labor across the country. And you would have these very dangerous, dirty working conditions where children would be in factories. They would live in tenement homes. So a bunch of people under one roof, very unsanitary conditions. And they would do very dangerous jobs that could get them killed, maimed, injured. And it was happening all across the country. And of course, they, when it's kids, they pay them less. They get away with paying them less. And it's basically like indentured servitude in a way. It's like wage slavery in a way. And they're trying to bring that back. They're trying to bring that era back. At some point, to be honest, I don't even know how we became enlightened enough for a brief period to realize this, but there was a period there where people were like, you know what? Maybe your young years, when you're a child and when you're a young teen, maybe in these years we can sort of protect the innocence and shield them a little bit from the horrors of the world and let kids sort of be kids, if you will. And then now, they're like, no, how about to serve our corporate overlords, we roll back the protections for kids, and we allow these 14-year-olds to do incredibly dangerous jobs that are oftentimes above their physical capacity and intellectual capacity. This is terrifying, man. This is terrifying. It reminds me of when Newt Gingrich said, in a debate in 2008, when he was running for president, it was in the Republican primary, Newt Gingrich said, we should have poor kids be janitors at their schools so that they can earn a little extra money. And he was questioned on that in a debate. And somebody was like, hey, I think it was Juan Williams was questioning him. And he was like, hey, do you see how that's viewed as like very sort of condescending and pedantic and insensitive to a parent with these young kids, and a lot of these poor kids are in minority communities. He's like, do you see how this can be interpreted as a problem? And he was like, no. Yeah, let the poor kids clean the toilets. Let's do that. You want 14-year-olds in meatpacking and demolition. You want 14-year-olds doing dangerous jobs. You know what it's all about, guys, right? You know what it's all about. They want to be able to pay these kids less. They'd rather hire a 14-year-old for less money, even if it's dangerous, than pay for somebody who's 40 who knows what they're doing and will demand a little bit more money. God, as we live in such a capitalist hellhole. Jesus Christ. Everything's about the profit. Everything's about the bottom line. Oh, let's hope all these bills get crushed. But, you know, with how a lot of these red states have psycho politicians running them, and with how right-wing a lot of the courts are, I would be shocked if we didn't get more child labor in the coming decade. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.